let's get into some good SEO. Everybody loves SEO because it's kind of like free traffic that comes from Google, which is this magical thing that gives you a lot of traffic, right? Kind of right, but often not so right because SEO is hard. SEO is you have to put a lot of time and effort into it, and you sometimes don't know when you're going to start getting the traffic. And for that reason, it's actually one of the most expensive ways to promote your business. But at the same time, um, we're going to cover, how SEO from Google, the nuances related to that. But then we're going to cover off Google SEO, and we're going to kind of discuss the benefits of each. And off Google SEO is very powerful. It isn't what you're thinking. It isn't like Bing, right, or Bing or Yahoo. No, it's not those. It's something else. So Google SEO. Let's talk about it because we're going to use Google SEO. We're going to talk about the principles of this thing, and we're going to give you the really good fundamentals, and then we're going to transfer it over to use on other sites which have a large use of search, right? Because if you think about it, YouTube, iTunes, podcasts, Quora, Yelp, any kind of almost any kind of website has search that is used for content discoverability. It's not the same as just having search on the site, right? Like Twitter has search on the site, but people don't quite look for. There isn't that much use inside Twitter of looking in for content, right? Using search. But there are many other platforms where that's the primary way to find content, at search, right? So once we nail down our Google search, all these other platforms, they will be like a piece of cake, and we'll get way more traffic than Google could give us. So let's get into all of this. So Google used to be the great equalizer. You can be a small player, have a new small site, and you can get a lot of traffic from search. But now it's difficult. Needless to say, the web is unbelievably crowded, right? If you're in any niche, that niche is crowded, right? It's already so crowded. Like here, so I'm doing, this is a marketing tutorial, right? This is an SEO tutorial. If I made a web page, the best web page on the web about SEO, do you think anybody would find it on Google? It will be number 536, literally. It will be not even in the top 100 search results, just because everybody in the world already tried to rank for the word SEO, right? Because it's kind of a lucrative term. Because if you can sell SEO services, great. So it's very difficult to rank in Google. It's very competitive. And that's just a part of that ecosystem. It's just very competitive, and that's something that you have to think about when you're making a decision of am I gonna try to get SEO traffic? Because yes, it would be great to get it, but what kind of resources are you gonna spend on it? And I deal with many people who they come to me and they're like, "Wow, I spent so much money on SEO and it's still not working." And I'm sorry, but yes, that's really the case usually. So let's talk about why SEO isn't working well now, because there's so many sites out there, right? So Google had to create this concept of authority, and that concept applies to domains, where domains, if you're a new site, you have no authority, right? You're new. But if your site has been around for 10 or 15 years, and people have linked to you, and you have thousands and thousands of visitors, and people mention you all over the web, then of course you have more authority, right? So Google will more likely rank pages that are on an authoritative domain than a new domain. So that's very important to note. So that for a new site, it's very difficult. Also, Google has kind of extra difficulties for new sites. They have to. There used to be a thing you have to wait 6 months before you really were able to get traffic. I don't know if they're still doing that. So for new sites, it's very difficult. What new sites tend to usually do is build links, because Google's algorithm takes a look at the number of links that are pointing. They're called backlinks, that are pointing from other sites to your site, And if there are many such links, then it's a sign that your site has some quality. And by the way, the sites that point the link to your site, they have to be good sites. They can't be like spam123.com, right? It has to be like really good authoritative sites have to link to you, right? So sites that have quality attributed to them have to link to you, and that will give you a signal of quality. Now, links are still important, but they're not enough. You have to have a social media presence and have people link to you from social media and mention your site from social media. So it's more that is also becoming a big component of it. But links should not be forgotten. Links are very important. Now, here's the thing. Once you get all kinds of links from social media and things like that, and general regular websites, the next thing that comes really into play, and it's so important, is keyword research. Because think about, why is Google so powerful? Why? Because when you type in a keyword into the Google search box, you're telling Google exactly what you want at exactly the time that you want it, right? So if some website meets that demand and ranks in Google and you visit that website, then guess what? Whatever you're searching for, and if they actually have it, you're very likely to engage with that, right? I mean, you might buy it, you might do whatever, but yeah, it's perfect, right? Because they have what you need at exactly the time that you need. And that's actually what makes Google leads so great, because they convert very well, because they're search based, because in search people tell you what they need when they need it. And that's the value of search. That's really the value of search, right? Timing and intent. And so keyword research on your part as the business owner is a process where you understand which keywords are going to be the ones which are going to bring you the kind of leads that are going to convert into customers, that are going to be likely to convert into customers. And so you have to think about it. For keyword research, there's a tool like Google keyword research tool, things like that. And I'll have another video which talks only about keyword research, because it's such an important topic, and there's so much to say about it. But you've got to get this part right. And then of course, once you build links to your keyword research, then you have to produce content on your site on a regular basis, and then you start sort of over time you will start ranking in Google and getting some search. But the problem is, if you think about the search results of Google, right? It's 10 results. Usually the top ones are like Wikipedia, some kind of a government site, some kind of like billion-dollar websites, news sites, right? So that top 10 search results, it's very crowded, very crowded. So it's not really 10, it's like 2 or 3 or 1 or none sometimes, right? Sometimes there's no room anymore. Even if you have the best page on it, there's just no room on the top 10 search results, because it's taken up by like extremely authoritative sites that are impossible to jump over. And that's part of your keyword research, is to take a look at the competition, right? How competitive is this search? I mean, because it's really very competitive. So what you can do, once you understand your keywords that are going to work well for you, that you can take a look at other platforms. In my case, and this is a real example, is that the term business plan is a very lucrative term. It makes a lot of money on the web. For that reason, there's like already a pretty difficult environment. It's hard to rank for a new website. So I tried it. It didn't work for me. So I made a mobile app for business planning, right? And that mobile app, it's number 1 for the term business plan on Android, and I think it's number 3 it's on iOS, right? So I'm able to actually get really nice. I'm able to rank those apps and get distribution that way, get those customers that way, right? So and the way those customers come to me is from App Store search when they type in the term business plan. So I'm actually using my keywords. I'm using elements of the SEO, but just not on Google, because Google is too crowded for me. Like, for my taste, it's too crowded, too expensive, and this pattern that And by now, I think there's something like 350,000 or 400,000 downloads of my apps. So this strategy really worked. But this doesn't have to be only on mobile apps, right? We can, YouTube has a very strong use of search. Quora, Yelp, right? There's many sites, and it depends on what kind of thing what you need, what makes sense for your business niche. But you can if you can find large sites or platforms which have very strong use of search, then right there, that's where you use your SEO, because that will give you a lot of traffic. Because even though those platforms are much smaller than Google compared to you, they are gigantic, and traffic from them will be like a flood. So that's actually how to think about SEO. From yes, there's Google search, but there's also all kinds of other search which can get you a lot more traffic. And the traffic you will get from Google, you will just laugh about it, because like by the time Google starts giving you traffic, you're already far ahead on those other platforms, and you're getting the great distribution that you were after. So that's SEO. That's how you think about SEO. So if that was helpful, I created many resources for you to get help. I created some of the top business apps to help you plan and start your business. They cover business ideas, business planning, marketing, and fundraising, and they're available on problemio.com, and I'll have the link to that in the description of this video and at the end of the video. And also I wrote 2 books. One is on going from business ideas to starting a business, and the other book is how to get you massive exposure, how to make you a great marketer, and get you a massive exposure for your business to get you a lot of customers. And those 2 books, I was able to really write a lot and give a lot of advice in them that I wasn't able to. Sometimes the videos are short and the apps, they're condensed, but the books are they're longer, so I was able to really say a lot that I wanted to say. So try the books, try the apps. They're all available on problemio.com. And of course, subscribe to this channel, and definitely comment on the videos, because you don't have to just watch. You can also participate, and we can continue the conversation together right in the comments. I see all the comments that people make, and I try my best to respond to all of them. So I'll see your comment, I'll respond, and we'll continue talking. So keep in touch and subscribe, and yeah, I look forward to hearing from you. Bye.